Hello and welcome back to Blank Explain to Hello and welcome back to Blank Explain to you, Drew.
Hello, I'm Drew.
Hello. How's it going?
Good.
Good, cool. Alright guys, today we're doing something a little weird, I guess. We've talked about this before, but a while 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we wrote a play, did it, had fun, whatever. And there's kind of an opportunity at that theater to do it again. No, I haven't asked him about it, but we're trying to do like a yearly show over there. That's kind of like easy to do and doesn't really cost any money, and also like a free for the season ticket holders and things like that. And so I'm gonna tell him we should do this show. And if it doesn't happen next year, it'll happen eventually, probably. So I'm working on rewriting the whole thing because it was bad the first time. Yikes!
Yeah,
it wasn't.
It was very bad. I mean, great.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of things to change, and now I think that's what you do. You know, once you do it once, you can kind of think, oh, I'm going to change this and change that and change everything. So we're going to just do kind of live on the air. We're not sure how it's going to go, but we're like on the air, just going to kind of edit it and write it with you guys. So, I mean, truth be told, we didn't have any ideas for this week, so.
Yes, we no, not at all.
Leave us some comments, please. Nate, I know you're listening to this right now, bro.
We're really lazy.
Leave me a comment on what we should do.
Or, if you don't want to give us a comment, come be on the show and bring your own.
Exactly. Literally, if you want to be in the show, just text us. Every listener has our number.
Yeah, honestly, and if you don't, you just put in the comments, hey, I want your phone number.
And I'll give it to you.
You'll probably get it. I'm going to be honest. Unless someday things change and we make money on this and
I will not give you my phone number.
Wes will have a full-time job.
Maybe I will put my phone number out like that. Anyways.
Why not?
So, I'll just explain real fast for the audience. The original show, which everybody who listened probably has seen it. But
Nah.
I gotta stop saying that. So, the original show, it was like a love story told in two different parts. So, the guy told the first half of the show in his point of view. When he would talk to the audience, different things, and Drew played that character. And then the other character, the second half of the story was through her point of view. It's kind of the same story, but through her point of view. I think originally we wanted to focus more on those point of views than we actually ended up doing.
Yeah.
I think the whole point of the show was the different points of views and things, which we kind of went away from that more as time went on, which is fine. So that was the first thing. Pretty much just followed them as they met and started dating, and they broke up, and there was a big fight, whatever, blah, blah. So that was the show in a nutshell. It was pretty short. It's only like an hour long, so it was actually pretty short. So I want to make it longer if I can.
Yeah. Which, easier said than done. I think the hardest thing, when we read through this, we started to go to practice, we're like, we need something else. You added a scene on Tuesday of Tech Week.
Yeah.
And we would sit there throughout this, 6, 7, 8 week process of audition. So we had get it confirmed, write some more, because we had a totally different idea.
Yeah.
Added a main protagonist, and then redid a lot of scenes, rewrote a lot, changed the ending, and then had auditions. Well, no, that was after auditions.
Yeah, we were I think we had auditions.
Well, we had the first auditions, and then we had to call.
We don't talk about the first auditions. First auditions, nobody showed up. I had 3 people that came.
And they were wonderful, and we loved them.
They're great, yeah.
But we needed more than 3 people in this, and they were busy. So we tried again. Very discouraged, said, hey, we'll try again.
It was honestly pretty depressing, not gonna lie.
But we did it. And after we had 11 people.
Yeah, about that.
We needed 10. I'm like, well, you know what? We're making another character for this person.
Yeah.
Base the entire character off of him, but don't tell him.
He's definitely listening right now. Kidding, Nate. I'm kidding, bro.
It wasn't you. We don't.
Well, you were the character. The character is. You played.
It's also you. It was also you.
Anyways, yeah, and that was funny because it was literally. He was on auditions and I was like, oh, he's so good. And so we rewrote, we kind of added just on the character, and that character ended up being one of the most important characters in the show. And
Sorry, Danny.
Poor Dan. It was in the 2-week gap between auditions and the actual practice, practice.
Also, on a kind of funny note, we had a character named Danny. We cast our friend named Dan as Danny.
Yeah.
And during the show, throughout, no matter what, I would change it. And I would say, oh, hey, Dan, hey, Danny,
it was terrible.
Whatever. And it would never be the same thing. he was known as Danny Dan. So it worked out.
I mean,
fine.
so, yeah, it wasn't like you're like, hey, Alex, his name was Danny. He's like,
in
what?
like in movies and media and stuff, you don't typically see people use shortened names unless they're like significant. You know? But it was fun. I could not. I got called out so many times and could not fix it.
Which it did not matter.
I didn't even know what the character's name was.
Yeah. What's that? Now I read Danny. I'm like, was that really? Is that his name? Or am I crazy?
We really chose that, and then a guy auditioned named Dan. And we're like,
we didn't even know at that point.
We really chose the name Danny though.
Yeah, we'll change it.
Okay. We definitely cared a lot.
Yeah, the names are pretty simple. What? Danny, Tyler, Dana, Katie, Olivia.
Katie and Olivia were the same person.
Seriously. Well, that's why I'm trying to give them more of a life now. They were very much the same person. Because that was the issue. There's a lot of depth missing from the show.
Sure.
And a lot of the side characters didn't have any. There was no point for them to be there, except just to be there. You know.
I miss a lot of this. It's near and dear to my heart, and it always will be. But I also love to kind of pick on ourselves here. I mean,
it's a lot of fun.
Some of the writing, some of the things we put in there were just.
I look back on it and I go, oh my god. Well,
I want the first draft again.
I hate reading the first.
I want the first draft because when we got it, we finished it. It was done. We got on stage. It was good. I mean, I would say objectively, it was a good show. No one could really complain that much. Did our books have everything spelled right? Probably not. No. I don't know. But do we even have books? Yeah, we did. We did.
We had binders.
Yeah. We had the nice.
We printed out.
Yeah.
You and I got books, but nobody else.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah, and then I got kicked out of being assistant director day before the show. I went and cried about it, and then he's like, "Well, fine, you can have your job back."
Yeah. I stand by that to this day. I think that was a good thing for me to say.
I think there's a better way to say it. Okay, so essentially the goal was, I don't want you to worry about directorial responsibilities.
Right.
Like, you don't need to be focused on, will the lights work, is the sound running, where's the camera, where are people at? You're doing the show, be the lead, don't worry about it. You just said, hey, you're not the assistant director anymore because it's the day of the show. That's that.
Yeah.
And that's all you said. That's all you said. Hey, you're fired.
Yeah.
Leave.
The thought was good, but the execution was not. Yeah, and that was funny too, because Drew wasn't even. He was just supposed to be the assistant director with me, and then
I even told him I don't really want to be in this.
Yeah.
I want to try directing, doing lights, things like that. I don't want to act. And then in every film festival we've had, I have said explicitly, I do not want to act. I'm the lead in 90% of these on accident, because somehow it's just you're the only guy who wants to do it.
It's like me, you, Elliot, and Matthew, and Elliot wants to be behind the camera. I want to be behind the camera. And Matthew just goes to work.
You gotta
Matthew got to come
Amazon.
back.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny. So, a point here is not to talk about.
This is why we can't get started about if I was like, hey, so Beer Barrel, man, we'd have an hour podcast about the job we used to have.
So I want to change it a little bit, and I'm curious. Here's what I'm thinking. I have two different thoughts here. Either we take away the entirety of... I think we should take away the paragraph stuff of them talking to the audience.
Also, this show starts with me walking on stage in a spotlight. Hi, I'm Tyler. My life is
kind of crazy. No, it's not. But it didn't say hi, I'm Tyler. Yeah. Well, a lot of the show had what didn't have it was. Excuse me. It was I wanted it to be kind of through the eyes of the two main characters, so they would talk to the audience a little bit and just explain, this is what I'm feeling, and this is why I'm feeling this, which is cool because it's an easy way kind of to tell what the actors are feeling and the characters are feeling.
Yeah.
And I think also it's a neat way to tell the story because it's kind of different.
Sure.
But also I think it's kind of cheesy.
I think it's very theater.
Yeah.
And you can take that how you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone not in theater will think theater is cheesy. And it is. I mean, objectively.
Right.
But I think that has it's not necessarily an aesthetic, but it's a essentially it's an I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
I'm not sure.
Not an ode to or a shout out, but well, I don't know. I lost it.
And we're trying to write a show right now.
Wake up way too early.
An omit. What's that word?
An omit? Yeah, no. We deleted it. An ode?
An homage? What's the word?
An nom nom.
No, whatever. Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking, I feel like it'd be fine to at least go away from those, right?
Sure. I think...
Because what about those, like, they added to, but why can't we just...
I don't see a whole lot to it that needs to be there. You know, when you talk about in theater how are thoughts and ideas portrayed, right? Either one of a couple things. First being you go talk to the audience. That's very common. In movies, you don't ever see that. I mean, fourth wall breaks are very rare.
Ferris Bueller's Day Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, but they're very...
They're never common. Good. I'm going to be honest. They're not... Ferris Bueller,
it's a classic, bro.
Mid.
What? So
I mean... An issue with a lot of those, too, is I watched them when I was, like, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I was too old to really think, like, man, Ghostbusters is crazy good. Yeah. That did surprise me, though. I didn't think it'd be that good, and it was. I like Ghostbusters more than Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller's good. It's, like, I don't
it's good, but like, should it be what it is hyped up to be?
Well, should any movie that's kind of like that...
If it's...
Like, any of those classics...
See, I will say,
this happens to
Ghostbusters, considering, like... And even Jaws. Jaws, for the technology you have in 1975... To make that movie, it's an incredible movie. Like, yeah, it's a rubber shark with a sharpied eyeball and, like, a little animatronic going chomp, chomp, chomp. But that's impressive. And Steven Spielberg did a great job. So.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ferris Bueller was that good.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah. What were you saying? Fourth wall breaks. Doesn't
happen. So that's one way. It's not... It's common in theater, not in movies, and it's not usually great. Conversations are a good way to do that. You can have like simple read-throughs, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go journal my thoughts and blah blah blah." So you're not breaking that fourth wall, but like, do your diary. Yeah. You know, that's a way to do it. I think that's probably it. Talking to another person or a diary or a fourth wall break. And I mean, you can have letters and stuff in TV, but not in a theater. So
because that's the cool thing about books is that you can like just really dive into what the characters are feeling and thinking. And it's a challenge of movies and theaters that you have to show it somehow, and without the characters saying "I am sad," you know. Yeah. So it's,
I look sad.
Right. So it's tough. So I'm thinking. I just feel like I don't know. I don't know if they really added anything. Like they did, but I think just with a little more work, you could take them out, omit them if you will.
Yeah, for sure. We had 4 per character probably.
Yeah, like at least
I think I did 4.
1 or 2 like major ones, and then some ones between the scenes that weren't as like the first one was major, like the
first one was huge. It was like 18 lines.
Right.
It's like, let me talk about myself for 3 minutes while you care.
There was a few ones like in throughout the scenes, you know, like a short one line, which I think were fun.
Yeah, and I think little stuff that I do appreciate was like. I think I can remember my line. Not exactly, but essentially.
Not good with girls at all. Isn't that one of the lines?
God.
Brenda, get out of here. Hey, she wants to join the pod.
I don't know. One of the things, like, we went on a date, we had this great time, and it's like, oh, that was so fun. Yeah. I never thought that'd be so great. I never thought I'd get to talk to a girl like Jenna, and here we are going on a date. Right. That's so exciting. I'm going to go get ready. Psh, off stage. You know, forget to change my shirt and come back on. Oops. So,
yeah.
Get it. Yeah, I don't think they're necessary.
Yeah, and I'm fine with cutting them. Which I think was kind of hefty once the writing, because once the writing actually starts, I think it would be in there. So my thoughts here.
There we go.
Is to change it where. Like, Tyler and Jenna don't meet. I kind of like the idea of Tyler meeting Katie first. And Katie, like, developing a crush on Tyler, almost. Or liking him, liking him.
Liking?
And then... and so Katie's kind of excited about this. And she happens... It's in, I think... I have it in here in one of the scenes. Where she happens to be, like, seeing Tyler. Like, she just sees, and talking to him a little bit. And then Jenna walks in. And she's, hey, this is my friend Tyler. Because Jenna and Katie are friends. And so that's how Tyler and Jenna meet, which then spirals into their relationship.
It's going to be a huge drama of like, hey, Katie, you should invite your friend Jenna.
Right.
When Katie asked him on a date.
Right. So it's kind of, I think it could add some more complexity and gives the character of Katie something to actually care about. And something to do. I think just adds also to I think it would be interesting too if if we want to play into the, like, Tyler's in the wrong and Jenna's in the wrong, you know, how we kind of, that was the point of each character.
And then really Jenna just was terrible, and Tyler was a pick-me boy.
So Tyler needs some more things to be bad. But, you know what I mean? Like that was kind of supposed to be the thing, is that each person in their own mind was good, but the other person was like, well, these were these negative things. So I think that would give, if Katie says to Jenna at some point, I like this guy Tyler, or whatever, and Jenna ends up going out with him, obviously that makes Jenna a negative, right? It gives her a negative.
She doesn't need more. She's pretty terrible.
Well, I also want to change the character of Jenna, too, to be... I want to take away from the... I have, like, a little book. I have, like, notes in. I don't have it with me. I don't know where I put it, actually. But I feel like changing the characters, both of them, to taking... Not, like, they're such... Like, all the personality we gave them was that Jenna's popular and Tyler's quiet, right? So I want to take away from that and not play into those stereotypes first.
Let's flip them. Let's make Tyler really cool.
Really cool. He'll skateboard on scene,
not
on
possible.
stage. But Frank. I think just taking that down and giving them more depth, you know, like, and maybe taking away from Jenna just being like some popular girl, just being a normal person who's not anything, like, not super popular or anything, but also like well liked, you know, and then Tyler not being some miserable loser who has one friend.
Ouch.
Because I think the opportunity here, when it was first written, the like lens was on something else, right? Like we were focusing on something else
for sure.
And then once what it became was different, but we already had that. We were working off the first, you know what I mean? That first vision we had, but also trying to change it, or we should have just rewrote it with the new sort of goal in mind.
I disagree that we should have rewrote it. I think it's fine to now, but I think, like, for what it was and what we did, I think stereotypes play well on stage. I will say that.
Okay.
Complexity is kind of, if I'm like, I kind of like everything, I'm forgotten.
Right.
You know, if I'm like, oh, math is cool, but I'm not amazing, no one's going to remember, oh, he was the math nerd.
Right.
So on stage, it is very, like, stereotypes remembered. Oh, she's the dumb one, he's the dumb one, he's the popular, right? They're very exaggerated in everything, so you'll remember them.
That's true.
So if we're like, oh, well, he's a kind of nice person situationally, but also likes to pick on his friends.
Yeah.
And that's just a well-rounded person, you're not going to know them.
But the question is, what's the focus on? Is the focus on the characters, or is the focus on the relationship? And the story, like, you know what I mean? Is the focus of the show to care about these characters?
Sure.
Or is the focus of the show to have, like, a message about relationships or something?
And then you're going to have a couple more questions. Are they going to stay together and we're just happy for them?
Right.
Are they breaking up? Is this like a drama where I should be really sad they broke up? Then you have to have them both be exaggerated perfect couple.
That's true.
If you want me to be sad and care about them, I can't disagree with them.
That's
if Tyler's like, man, I wish you had no friends and wouldn't talk to anybody and only talk to me all the time, quit your job because I don't want you to look at other people, I'm not going to be sad when they break up. I'm going to be celebrating like, yeah, Tyler sucks.
Right.
So has to be the focus. Like, what's the point of this? Why am I going to spend my 43 minutes, because we're cutting all those paragraphs, why am I, sitting down to watch this? Am I supposed to be inspired, sad, happy? Is it a funny show? Funny? Also, funny or comedy is a crime. It is a curse word in Wes's house.
It is.
Don't be funny. That's why this podcast is not...
You're right. I think it's interesting, and I think that's just like something to figure out. Like, is the focus of the show changing? Yeah. Or what is the focus? Like, what?
Well, I guess the big question is, like, do you want them to break up or not?
I think that was nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, break up.
I like that part.
So if they do, should I be happy or sad about that?
I think you should be sad about it.
Okay. So should I be on someone's side, or like? Because I think a big part of what you liked before is, like, you could kind of pick sides. Most people were right and they picked Tyler, but...
the only person that picked Jenna was Jenna.
Madison.
The character, the person that played
her. Shout out to Madison. Please do our show again. So.
Please hang out with me.
Once. Oh, you actually are hanging out, like, soon, right? Camp?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. No, cool. I wouldn't say we're hanging out, but...
Yikes. Anyway.
Right?
Fair enough. Bye.
Cut. So yeah, I think that's a good point. I think because I think that was a nice part is you could because that was my favorite thing is after I think Friday night opening night or whatever is like people were standing around like talking about there's like a conversation about it afterwards. Right. So I was like, oh, that was a good show, and you go home and whatever. And Tyler was obviously right. Nobody cares. But there was like a conversation about like, well, who was in the right and why were they in the right?
And I think it depends on who you relate to and how your relationship is or has been.
Right.
And that's a big part of it. I mean, if you're like the quiet person who doesn't like to go out as much and likes to stay more reserved, has issues with like emotional attachment, like you're going to relate to that character. And you're like, man, everyone's too clingy and wants my attention and I just want to be myself. Mm-hmm. Like, if that's how you feel in your relationship, you'll relate to that in the show. And I think that's very interesting.
That's true.
If you're, like, dating someone who's distant, you're going to be like, man, Tyler sucks. He's just like my boyfriend.
Right.
Okay. And I think you write them as that. If you, going too much into psych, but it doesn't, it might be helpful. If you look at, like, attachment styles, if we put them on the polar opposite ends of the spectrum, people are going to figure that out because really everybody's somewhere. The closer you are to the middle of, like, attachment styles, and I'll go into that more, the healthier you are. It essentially says when there is anxiety in a relationship of, like, let's say you first start dating, you're 2 months, and you're like, what if they break up? I'll be sad because I care now. When you went on your first date, like, if they said no, it's not the end of your world. When you get together, like, you're married now.
Right.
You're married, by the way.
By the way, in case you guys know, married.
If Kay was like, hey, peace out, I'm leaving, like, that's going to hurt a lot more than if you went on a date. So when that anxiety shows up, there's two responses to it, and one is to be what they call anxious avoidant, and it essentially says, I'm worried I'm going to lose you. I'm going to push you away so you'll lose me first.
Right.
Don't get attached because people leave.
Right.
It's fairly common. It's usually prone more to experience. Anxious attachment styles are just, I think you're going to leave, so let me be the best person I can be so that you won't leave. Because clearly I'm the reason you would want to leave. Mm-hmm. And that's typically more common to people who haven't been in a long-term relationship or have had issues with that. Internalizing the problems in a relationship more. Because the person who had someone leave probably got used to it. They're like, oh, everybody leaves, right? And that's your style. If you're just an anxious attachment style, you kind of fall into like, well, what if they do? Well, people don't leave their perfect person, so I'll be perfect. And if you put people on either side of that, everyone relates to that one way or another.
Right.
And yes, you should be in the middle where you're like, oh, I don't have a lot of this anxiety in my relationship, but I'm happy and healthy.
Yeah.
But that would be an interesting, instead of focusing on the stereotypes of being quiet and introverted and weird and like extroverted and popular, fall into their opposites come from, you know, attachment and the relationship itself rather than just personalities.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think the better thought would be then not taking away from them and the stereotypes that they have, but making it more subtle. Yeah. So I think I think what I cringe about is when Tyler comes on stage and says, "I'm really quiet and Jenna's really popular. How do we ever end up together?" It's like, dude, it's weird. You know what I mean? And I mean, it worked obviously, but I think that taking and again that goes from more showing than telling. Instead of Danny saying, "Oh man, you're always so quiet." Like how do you
really established that he was quiet?
Right, like how do you show that and not just tell it or not just have a character say that? You know what I mean? I think it's a challenge.
Sure.
But I think it creates for a more quality sort of show almost.
Yeah. Someone's going to steal our ideas and write this play for us.
If you guys want to write it for me, be my guest.
I did copyright, a work in progress. Name pending.
Patent pending. Yeah, actually, if you guys have a better name, please let me know. Oh my gosh, that's the hardest part. I think I'm worried it's going to stick. It's just going to be what it is, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt with a brief, random conversation. Okay. Just a question that we didn't start with. If you were a pop, what would you be?
A pop?
Yeah. Like what would you be? Not like what do you want, what's your favorite. Like, what would you be?
Like soda pop?
Yeah.
What? I don't know, bro. What would you be?
Probably like a Barks root beer or something. That's like, it's not what I want, you know, but that's probably what I'd be. A little grumpy, a little bit old, you know. Old men like Barks.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Mellow yellow.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of weird, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of out there.
A little,
Not necessarily bad.
Yeah. No one's like, man, no one has like a passionate hatred for Mellow Yellow.
Yeah, like it's
like
not like
I do for Dr. Pepper. I hate Dr. Pepper.
Right.
You know.
I'd say Mellow Yellow's not like Mount Lightning or something. We like Mellow Yellow is like it's a brand, but it's not necessarily all like.
It's right in the middle of Mountain Dew and Mount
Lightning. Yeah.
And if you were a dessert,
I don't know. You tell me.
just gotta think.
Peach cobbler.
I had apple crisp the other day. It was good.
I haven't had dessert in a long time.
I would probably just be like
vanilla ice cream.
No, probably like chocolate chip cookies or something. Yeah, pretty like basic, but like pretty good. I don't think like a ton of people would hate me if I were a cookie, but I'm not like the best, like what's the cookie? Insomnia cookies or something.
Yeah.
Crumble cookies.
Crumble cookies.
Sponsor us.
Please. Anyways, so I also think that it'd be really neat. So I guess in my mind, I want Katie and Tyler to be good friends.
Yeah.
I want there to be like a chemistry there. First. So let me go through this scene by scene breakdown real fast. Because that kind of goes into it. So scene 1, it's Tyler first day of class, like sophomore year or something in college. Not freshman, but not like senior. Comes in, sees Katie, and there's open seat. Hey, can I sit in? What?
He's a sophomore. It's not like a freshman or like a senior. Yes.
Whatever. So he comes in and he's like, hey, does he take? She's like, nah. And so he says that, and they talk for a little bit. And the professor comes in already. He's like, hey, this big class project, by the way. And he's like, oh, we're sitting next to each other. Yeah, we're part of school, whatever. It's like, just kind of like, yeah, they have to be. Scene 2, I'm not really sure of this, but it's like a few weeks later, Katie is there. They're like talking again. It's kind of flirty a little bit. There's like just kind of a chemistry, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is chemistry. It could be like friends, because I think you just have good chemistry with friends sometimes. But also, it kind of just feels like, ooh,
Here's a challenge for you if you're gonna judge us at all. Try writing flirty. If you want to write lines, you spell it right. But like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna write lines, and you're like, he says to her,
"You look nice.
Like your shoes. You look good." And then they get on stage and people read for you, and you're like, "I like your shoes.
Yeah,
you look good."
Yeah.
No. Flirty's just mean.
Yeah.
Nice walking, bozo. When someone trips, like
true.
Maybe I'm mean, maybe I'm flirting. We'll never know.
That's true.
Maybe it's so bad because if you write it, you're like, this just sounds mean. But I've never had someone like flirt or like watch this happen, and it was like nice.
Yeah,
if it's too nice, it's weird.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
It's
like, hey, bro. Hey, sis.
Good luck writing flirty.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
There's a lot of
your hair smells like apples. I'm really happy you're sitting beside me. What?
A lot of ambition in the script already.
So, good luck with that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. But he wants to do that for me, be my guest. So then, scene 3, as of now, Tyler and Danny are in the library talking about just the week, just whatever, so like weekend. Katie enters, so she says, she's Tyler, whatever, comes, says hello, and they're talking for just a little back and forth. Flirty energy, same flirty energy. So then Jenna comes in. And to meet Katie or something. So Katie, and introduces her to Tyler and Danny, whatever. So then like Katie, and this last part I think can go away now, but possibly the Katie and
this part,
possibly Katie and Jenna and like Aaron later, and maybe Olivia, just kind of sitting there talking about whatever. But it's probably not important anymore because I had something later.
So. It says, Katie introduces Tyler to Jenna, and there's something between them that Katie notices. How are you going to do that?
I don't know.
I'm the pain in your butt.
Yeah. Well, see, my thought here is more right.
Having, like, spotlights and glitter?
Probably not.
Okay.
No.
So it's just like we have to show on stage.
Yeah. And even that can go, that doesn't necessarily need to be there. My thought here is just, this is more of saying that, like, as a writer, this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and if I don't show that, that's not a big deal, but
sure.
But
when you're acting, you should know there's an underlying, like...
The underlying sort of thing in it, sure. So, that's why I like to direct my own shows, but...
Sure.
So, then, scene 4, library later that week, Tyler and Danny are studying, and this is I want Danny and Olivia to get together just for fun and have it more
Might as well.
just like a good break of the action, and every so often there's a scene with them, and it's kind of just fun and whatever.
So Katie's just alone forever, sad that her best friend's still her boyfriend.
Right.
Good for her.
Right. So it's just kind of a fun whatever. So next one is Tyler's outside. Scene 5. Tyler's outside sitting on a park bench. A few people walking by. He's writing in a notebook because he's still an English major. But I will take away from the cringy, because I read back and like, dang, I really just said all these cringy jokes. Whatever.
You know what I quoted today? I wish I was joking.
Oh no.
Like Nathan.
Dude,
God's gift to mankind.
That's my master line that I've ever written. I'm still proud of that. Seriously, dude. If they just waited like 10 seconds longer after he said the line and it was like an awkward silence for like 20 seconds, that would have been the most perfect.
I mean,
it was good. It was good, but it could have been even more awkward. It would have been hilarious.
It made me uncomfortable.
Me too.
Oh boy.
Just watching it. Pretty much there's a scene where Tyler's meeting Jenna's parents for the first time, and Jenna's mom was like, "Oh, I love nachos. They're God's gift to mankind." And Tyler goes, "Like Nathan," and it's really awkward. And he's like, "Well, Nathan, it means God's gift for mankind." And it's just really awkward. Anyways,
actually, you saying that made me uncomfortable.
Right? Yeah, because it's weird. But that was the whole point. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. So Tyler's writing a notebook. Jenna's just walking by. Oh, hey, Tyler's like, good to see you again. Because they just met a couple scenes ago.
Yeah.
And it's not anything like, groundbreaking like it was. And they just kind of chit chat for a little bit. And she just sits down next to him, and they're talking. Whatever. Maybe. And I think this depends on how spread out you want it to be. But this could be a scene where they kind of like keep talking, just like a deeper conversation.
And then they kiss, right?
And then they make out, and then. No. So then they're talking whatever. I'm not sure about this, but she asks him like, oh, after a while, like, oh, what are you writing about? And it's just like a poem, a sweet little poem, not cringy, I swear. And Tyler's like class leaves, whatever, and Jenna's just still there, oh, whatever. And I think the point of that scene is to like not say like, oh, they're meant for each other, because that could still be very friendly. But I think it kind of shows the complexity of the characters, right? And that's what I wanted to do.
I love this line. He's writing in a notebook, period. Jenna walks by and recognizes him, period. She says hello, period. And is standing there talking to him for a while, period. He invites him to sit next to him, period.
I don't know what you want me to say. Again, it's just the most basic outlines of everything. It doesn't matter. Whatever, Drew.
Write your own good. It's good. This is the part that I can't do. If you give me a blank piece of paper and say, okay, write a story, it's not happening.
Yeah.
If I can sit here and tell you, hey, this is funny, this is wrong, this looks bad, change this, I could do that all day.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I wish I was creative and not critical. But, it's how we got through the first one, a lot of lines. Mm-hmm. Dude, bro.
A lot of dude and bros.
Kaylee was a huge part of that.
Nah, I think you were, but you and I are the ones that sat down the most and would go through it.
We sat there and said, okay, let's make this. And we brought in a lot of a lot of personality.
Yeah.
We put a lot of depth into the characters, most of them. And sorry, I'm Tyler's dad. And
again, that's what I'm saying. I want there to be more depth.
Tyler and Jenna had a lot of depth that really played into how we responded as actors, actresses, and like what this character would do.
Right.
So it was good.
Yeah, it was very good. So scene 6. Danny and Tyler talking.
Library?
Library question mark? I want these
Danny's house.
Danny's house. I want these to be. I feel like in the first version, these scenes being like Danny and Tyler and everything was kind of like cringy almost. It was just like it was written weird, I feel like. And very just kind of not natural almost.
Yeah.
So I want things to be more natural. But, Danny asked about Katie. Tyler's like, oh, maybe moves.
Okay.
See, I'm not sure about this scene. Because I don't know if I want it to be like Tyler's like really into Jenna and just ignores Katie pretty much. Or if he like just subtly sort of shifts from like being very close to with Jenna and it kind of turns into something with Jenna. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's not super aware that there was something with Katie in the first place.
Yeah, I don't like the idea that he's oblivious because I think it falls into that like silly stereotype kind of Tyler's dumb area. Okay. I think it should just be like almost a confession to his friend that like, so how's Katie? You know, blah blah blah. Are you gonna talk to her? Blah blah. He's like, well, honestly, I was talking to Jenna. You know, and like just a direct. It's not like an oblivious thing, but it's a very direct. Like, no, I'm talking to Jenna, and he's like, oh, okay. Are you gonna ask her out? And he's like, yeah, I think so. Where it'd be like a little more direct, because if we're saying Tyler's not stupid, he would know that.
Right. Okay, bet. I like that. No, I like that. So let's do that. Tyler, okay, that's right, and Katie.
Hello, Brenda.
Tyler says, nah, Jenna. More. He likes her more than Jenna.
I'm really uncomfortable with how you wrote that G in 150.
Go.
What is that?
Shut up, bro. Okay, so I like that. I like that. I think that I like that a lot better because I think that nothing to say, but I like that better. Okay. Because I think there's some stuff later on too. It's similar that I want to change. So scene 7, Darren and Olivia, maybe you know. So Tyler's on the bench, and this is what I'm not sure. So Jenna's walking with Olivia. They stop, say hi. Olivia she has to leave class or something. Jenna and Tyler are talking. Jenna starts to leave, but Tyler's like, you know what, nah. You know, hey, you want to go out sometime? A little more confident than the first version. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh my gosh, yo, my grandpa is like, so hey Tyler, or hey Jenna, I really like you. Like I would love to go out with you sometime. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, sure. So then.
Is this something she knows or cares about? Is Jenna going to ask about Katie? Does she know or care? Because obviously, if your friends start flirting with each other, you figure it out fast.
Scroll down to scene 5 here.
Scroll down to scene 5?
Well, because this is something that would have to be in the second act, if that's how it's done. Right? If it's still the different stories. So in this one, Katie admits, like, I actually really like this guy in my class, Tyler, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this is after Jenna's met Tyler. And so I think, if we want Jenna to not necessarily be evil, but my thought here is that she's not necessarily like insinuating anything with him. She's not like going out of her way and asking out Tyler herself, right? But she's kind of like, well, I like Tyler, so I'm not going to say no. You know what I mean? And I think that's, and so if we want Jenna to have a negative thing attributed to her, that's a big thing, you know, that the audience doesn't even know about until the second act. Because even if they knew that Katie. Why do you have that in parentheses, bro?
Danny asks about Katie, but Tyler says nah.
Nah to Jenna. Wait. That's fine. Funny. It works.
I don't know. Oh, boy. Not two. Yeah.
So.
Tyler says nah.
So, yeah. So I think it could be like a negative thing for Jenna, right?
For sure.
And especially if the audience doesn't even know about it until the second act. Because here's what I think we take away from the characters explaining the story. Yeah. Because I think that instead of doing that, it's just the audience watching the story in two different lights. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I think, because obviously Jenna wouldn't say, oh, well, Katie wanted to ask out Tyler, but I took him anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She turns to the audience. The only time we do it this time. I know Katie likes him, but I don't care. I'm the bad
So,
guy.
I mean, I think that because in my mind, just because your friend has a crush on somebody, I think that, like yeah, you shouldn't, right? But I think that person is obviously into you. I think there's like I don't want to say there's a gray area, but like I could like I want to be super like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be friends with you again. You know what I mean?
I think there's a difference.
I'd be like, dude, come on, but you know,
if you want to be in a long-term relationship with someone, and if you're kind of just hooking up, because if someone has a crush on a person and you go hook up with them, that's kind of dirty.
Yeah.
If you're actually into them and like have a relationship and stuff, like more power to you.
Because that's what I'm saying. I think that it could be like, you know what, you know, I maybe wouldn't have done that, but like I'm not gonna be like, it's not like Jenna and Tyler dating and Jenna goes and like makes out with Tyler. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's honestly excusable,
Sure.
and so I think it's okay.
All right.
What do you think?
No, I mean that's fair enough. Are we doing the two perspectives?
I want to, I don't
It's
know.
something you liked about it.
I do like that.
It's so hard to do.
It's so hard to do because you have to add because you can't just do the same scenes. You know what I mean? It's very difficult. But I think honestly though, when we were running that other play last summer, and we were gonna tell it in like the 3 different parts. I think some people, Kaylee, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call you out for a second. She was against doing that way because she was like, well, what's the point? And in my mind,
Because it's harder and more confusing, and the old people will be mad.
exactly. No, but in my
Mad.
mind, I think that sometimes you got to make your story stick out. And so I think telling it in a unique way doesn't mean not necessarily a point to it, except that it's a unique way to tell the story.
You know, like 3 things I do and would remember about our show.
What?
1, being they broke up and it wasn't like a happy ending.
Right.
2, like the protagonist won essentially.
Yeah.
3, there was 2 perspectives.
Right.
That'd be it. That's what I took away. Oh, it was interesting. They did 2 perspectives.
Yeah.
I'd say that was a good job. But they didn't do the same exact thing. There were like 4 reference points, so you knew that it was the same thing.
Right.
We had like people walk in, they bumped into each other, and they dropped books. You
Right.
had 2 lines that were 3 or 4
Right.
lines that were the same, and you're like, oh, I know this. This is that scene. Uh-oh, it's skipping to the next one.
Right.
Great. And you had the people sitting in the same spot, but then like the boys were talking before, the girls are talking now.
Right.
Great job. I'm very proud of us. That's something I would have pointed out and been like, hey, good job with that. So, I agree. If you just said like, oh, there's this couple and they dated in college and then they got together and they
Right.
were like happy. Okay, and
Yeah.
so I wasted 43 minutes on that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think. Yeah, I agree. I think breaking up is good. I think, and actually, yeah, I think the 2 stories, because that's originally the whole point was the different. Because I think one of the titles was something about like it being like 2 sides or something, something like that. Which
What it was, I forget what it was.
I can't. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. Or Jody, when we did our first read through, she called this, something to do with the 2 different whatever. Anyways.
Good old Jody.
Yeah, great. So I think it's a very unique way to tell a story, and it gives you an opportunity as a writer to I think it's really cool that the audience doesn't know that Katie admits feelings to her friends for Tyler until the second act. You know what I mean? Because they might even be saying, "Oh, Jenna's definitely a really good person."
Right.
But then they're trying to watch second act, like, "Wait, whoa,"
Wait a minute.
So I think it's neat.
Yeah.
But I think again, it needs to be more subtle than it was.
Sure.
And not just being like, here's a really bad thing to this person, but here's a bad thing to this person,
Yeah, you're both bad. You both suck.
Right. So I don't know.
That's just real life.
But anyways, so I think Tyler asked her out, and she's like, yeah, sure. Excuse me.
Wow.
Scene 9 and 10, I think I don't like at all.
Great. No.
Because
Olivia tells Katie she should just go for it and tell Tyler how she feels. Katie agrees. Ooh.
and then
So why?
well, so that would play into the next scene, where Katie would go to talk, ask her out, but they're on a date. You know what I mean? And that to me is just cringy. I think
this is
looking
going
back.
to Love Island kind of stuff. Drama.
Yeah.
She'd just be like, "Hey, I like him." He's like, "Oh, I went on a date yesterday." Okay. Oh, that's exactly what you did.
Right. So I'm saying I'm fine.
What?
What?
Just walks by and grabs his hand.
No, they're on a date.
Yeah, you're on a date. You're not dating.
Yeah, but I
And
don't
she's
know.
like, "Hey, you're talking to a girl."
No, grabs his hand and
Jenna
holds
sucks.
it. Starts holding his
Jenna's
hand.
the
Starts holding his
worst.
hand, bro. No. So
Did you just bark?
I barked, bro. I'm barking mad.
We're so dumb when we write stuff. It's
Yeah, I know.
terrible.
It's really hard to get stuff done that way too. So
Scene 5, after 13.
huh?
Scene 12, 13, 5.
Yeah, right. So then scene 11, I just had them on dates. Going whatever. Scene 12, Danny, Olivia, whatever. Scene 5. So this would be in the second act. It was supposed to be scene 5. I was like, oh yeah, it should be in the second act. So I just have it at the bottom right now. But it'd be Katie like admitting these feelings.
Okay. Well, so then if scene 5 is in the second act, scene 9 would have to be.
Right, but I'm thinking cut scene 9.
We'll see.
Okay.
I'll leave it for now.
I think Katie coming in though, that's cringy.
I think like scene 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Delete scene 10.
Okay.
But I think there's a different way to do that. So.
What do you want to do?
I don't know. Figure it out later. We'll figure it out.
Because that's all I have right now. And I think from here, now that they're dating, you could kind of go with the original. But here's what I'm struggling with. Mm-hmm. Can you just kind of throw away the Katie storyline now? Because that was such a big establishing part in the beginning, and just kind of go to what it was, right? So like a couple of them, the happiest, all the same sort of things, except done better. Mm-hmm. Or should I have that still be a big focal part of it as well, and try and weave that in throughout?
I think it'd be interesting. So we start the story with like, however it goes, Tyler and Jenna, they go on a date, right? Mm-hmm. We continue with them. We see them doing blah, 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 and start to establish that, but like not quite secret, but just not like they went on a couple dates, they're hanging out a lot, they do whatever. But their friends don't know it. Like Katie doesn't at least. So we'll have a break from Katie's character. And then we have this conversation, we're like, oh, she doesn't know Jenna, blah, blah, blah. Right, and then you have her talk. So, elaborating more on not just them on the first date, and then like this kind of awkward, like, this is my boyfriend now, right? You know, like, in more of like letting the audience kind of almost be happy, like, oh look, they're getting together, that's fun, and then seeing Katie's perspective. So for that time being, it's kind of like their different sides of that. But then you can go into fundamentals, like, what does that do? I don't know, but it'd be interesting.
A question, I think, here we are, 8 scenes in, and Tyler and Jenna are starting to date, right?
Yeah.
Will the audience be pro the relationship or against it? Because wouldn't they naturally be drawn to Katie in the first part, right?
I think so. I think I'd be rooting for Katie. I don't like Jenna. I'm biased.
Right.
I don't know.
But objectively watching this, would you say that? Yeah.
I think it depends on who you make likable. I mean, if you like make Katie some malicious, like I'm gonna get them, blah blah blah, or like some woeful, like self-pity, annoying character, no, I'm gonna be like, you don't care, and then she'll go through a little tantrum, and I'll just be like, whatever, you know. Yeah. But if I like Katie's character, and I'm like, wow. I'd be so awkward. I'd feel so bad, you know. Like, imagine if that were me, and I was like, "Oh no, this person I like is dating my best friend. That's so sad." So, that's going to depend on your character development.
The question is there a way? Just to be cool, I don't know what the phrase, but a way for us to like all the characters?
No, Jenna sucks.
Except like Aaron or something. You know what I mean? Like. Like, is there a way for me to be on Tyler's side, be on Jenna's side, and also be like, we like Katie, we want Katie, so we're torn no matter what happens.
Yeah, simply, if we like Tyler and Jenna together, and you do that well and people care, you're going to care about all of them. If you make any of them obnoxious, I mean, we're kind of pushing that, like, exaggerated perfection, but, like, these characters, like, we love Tyler and Jenna because they're super sweet and flirty and, like, you know, a little awkward, but they're cute and stuff, whatever, you know. Gross stuff. They can do all that, and we're kind of happy for them. But then it's almost like a call back to Katie, and then you don't know how to feel anymore. You know? And I can still like Katie, and I can still feel kind of bad because she's not like this annoying character. We really like her. But then we're like, wait, I just started liking them, but like, what if blank? And I think there are things that do that well, where you're like, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes the show's so explicit wants you to hate a person. Right. Skylar from Breaking Bad.
Right. No, dude, you're sexist. That's why you don't like her.
If not liking Skylar from Breaking Bad makes me sexist, I can live with it. I can live with it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think too, there's no, especially if, I think there's nothing right now for the first 8 scenes or whatever that makes you think that tells you 100% like Katie and Tyler, if you write it right, are like a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think as long as you toe that line and make sure not to be like.
Just looking at like where this is going, I think I want to write it as if we're rooting for Katie. Because I do.
Right.
I think it'd be more fun to have, get it. That falls away from the initial, do we like Tyler or Jenna? They break up. It's a big deal. Maybe we're happy about that because we liked. So I guess is our focal point going to be, are we happy they broke up because we wanted Tyler and Katie? But is this just like high school drama?
Right.
How can we make this something you actually care about, which isn't super like, I don't know, my head hurts now.
Let's see.
We thought for an hour and it's like, whew.
Say something, Brenda. What do you want to say? I think
we should name the character Brenda.
Brenda. Anyways.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. Really brief interruption. My mom still makes fun of you for naming your cat Brenda.
Dude, that's the point. Ain't that right, Brenda? What'd she say?
I don't know. She's just like, I can't believe Wes named his cat Brenda. That's so weird.
She can't believe I named my cat Brenda.
It's so weird. Why would you name your cat Brenda? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't have a cat named Waffles.
Pancake.
Waffles.
I think it's tough, but I think here's the thing, because I had this in here, so we have established that Katie and Tyler are doing like a project together. I think Katie should still be kind of flirty with Tyler, right? Because she can't really help it, and I think there should even be a scene where they're like studying for their project, they're kind of just hanging out, whatever, and Tyler like goes almost too far. You know what I mean? He's like, he knows he shouldn't be like doing like indulging his friendship as much as he is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And he's telling himself, this is just a friendship, whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever. But they keep kind of getting flirty and stuff. I think there could be even a scene where like
they kiss.
They don't kiss. They don't kiss. I repeat, they do not kiss. But where like Katie especially kind of goes for it. But not in a way of like, I'm just going to kiss you. You know what I mean? Like, I want you, I'm going to kiss you. But like, it's almost like, we know this is wrong. We don't want to do this. But I just, like, the chemistry is so strong, I feel like I just can't help it, But Tyler stops it, obviously, right? But there's like that second of like, but he's like, what am I doing? This is insane, I'm very happy. And he is out of there.
I think that's going to make them very unlikable.
Who?
Katie and Tyler.
Okay, good. Because that makes everything unlikable, right? That makes everybody uneven.
Why was Jenna unlikable?
Because she knows that Katie likes Tyler.
So second act, maybe? I think you should feel a little bit torn.
Well, I'm saying, I think throughout I think you can't be torn by everything all at once, right?
I want Katie and Tyler to be rooted for.
Because if you say from the beginning that... But see, that's the thing. I think if you write it correctly... Because think about this. There are movies or shows where a character cheats on somebody, but you're rooting for the person they're cheating on them with, right?
Like the Katie and Tyler getting together.
Because the relationship is not good, and you want these other people together, you're almost, oh, sweet, finally, So would the audience hate that, or would they be like, kind of like, hey, I like that. I want them to be together.
I think we're falling from, like, we had just said, do we want to make them all likable? Can we do that? Yes. Or we can make them all unlikable. And we went from making them all likable to making them all unlikable.
Or we put them all on even playing ground.
Or we just hate everybody. And I'm fine with that. I didn't think Tyler or Jenna were very cool.
But I feel like the thing with the first one was that we talked about it a lot of what... Or did we talk about that or something else? But I feel like there's always a conversation of what's something they can do that's not... What? There's something else I was just doing that was this. It was like, what's something they can do that's not terrible, but it's still enough to make you like...
Sure.
What was that?
They were gonna kiss?
No, there was something... I don't think it was for this. There was something else that I kept... I talked with, I think, Kate about it a bunch, but it's like... I had to find a way to make these people like... Yep. What was that? Oh my gosh.
I think if we did like... I think you could have like almost an uncomfortable stare kind of moment. Like let's say something happened, right? It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but then they kind of made it. So like, they're sitting down, they both like, it's cringy and it's really awkward, but the idea.
Yeah.
They're hanging out at this restaurant, whatever. They both try to grab napkins. They like bump hands.
Yeah.
And then they like look at each other, and then it's like, oh. And it wasn't like, oh, haha, because that could have been nothing, and it should have been. But then like the kind of tension they gave it is what made it a thing.
Yeah.
Instead of like,
right.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Right.
Like something that is initially more
subtle, almost. Right.
It's more innocent, but then it's given like this tension that doesn't necessarily need to be there.
Right. I think that's what I think that's what I like about the idea of an almost kiss type of thing. Sure. 'Cause I'm thinking more on the feeling of it, of the sort of like tension that's there, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that so I think if a kiss is maybe too much, right? Like that's fair. So I think, but what is the thing that's like, you know? And so I think what you're saying, right? Like a you know, even you're walking, you accidentally bump hands, whatever it is, you know, and but it turns to something more. And it's kind of like you know, if we wanted, there's obviously something here that we could continue this on, but we have to make a decision now. You know what I mean? Whatever.
So, briefly, how long are we running?
We're probably close to an hour.
Yeah. So if we want to kind of like summarize a little bit, we talked about our ideas, what we're doing here. It was kind of a how-to.
Yeah.
Briefly, let's go over our how-to process.
Of how to write?
How to write. We talked about what we're doing, but essentially, what's a good big tip? We'll just go over a couple tips
on how
for writing a play, writing a book, or writing whatever you want.
Start with your idea. That's a good one.
Have an idea. Do not play.
Have an idea and like develop it more. Don't just go. I got this one thing.
Yeah.
That was the issue with the first one. Was we had one thing we wanted, or I had one thing I wanted, and then I was trying to do the whole show to find that feeling, right?
Yeah. So I think a couple things.
It was hard. It was doable. It was hard.
First, and you might not do this when you write papers. If you're like me, get an outline.
Yeah.
I hate outlines of papers.
Me too.
I hate just writing like,
it sucks.
I'm going to talk about this later. Move on. I'll talk about this later too. I just write it. And everyone's different. With a play, don't do that. You have to have an outline. So first you want to have your story. Like let's say I'm like, man, I really want to write a play. We'll just make something up. About a princess and a frog. Right. And in this story, what would I want to happen? Okay, well, I want the focus of this to be on the frog has this motive to become a person again, and the princess is just nice, right? Okay, that's the motive, that's the idea, the underlying theme of like the purpose of the film, right? Okay, where's the princess live? Does she have friends?
Right.
What does she do? You know, and you develop those things later. So for this, we're focusing this on relationships, tension, and essentially like a split feeling of rooting for a couple and rooting against them.
Yeah.
And that is a feeling we're focused on that is our motive or our underlying theme.
Yeah.
So you want that. It's huge. Next, you would develop characters. Because everyone wants to not everyone, I don't think many people write plays.
Probably not.
Books. Everyone wants to, in plays or books or whatever you want to write, kind of just dive in and say, we're going to have this scene.
Yeah.
The huge question that no one asks is why.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to have this scene, and they're going to go to the fair, and they're going to hold hands, and they're going to be happy, they're going to win a prize and do all this fun stuff, and you're going to see how happy they are. Okay.
Right.
And do you need that to establish a relationship so I root for them? Sometimes. Do I need 8 of them? No.
Right.
That's big. So why is the best question you could possibly ask yourself when writing something?
And I think that's the important part about the outline.
Yes.
Is you need to think about, and everything you put in the outline can change. You know, if you write anything that doesn't work, change it. Sure. But I think that it gives you it makes you think about, like we're talking about this entire time. You know, how are people going to react to this? And if we put this in here, it's really a cool thing to do this. But how is that going to make our characters react?
Sure.
Why are they doing this? And I think just asking all these questions develops your story. We want this feeling, so we're going through, but now we're trying to figure out what's the best route through this. And if we just started writing, it'd be impossible.
If we have that scene one, okay, sophomore year of college, classroom filled with people, right? We have a first scene. And what's the purpose of that? Okay, we need Tyler and Katie to be friends, establishing who 2 characters are.
Right.
That's it. Okay, later we have Katie, Olivia, and Tyler, and Danny. Now we established 2 more characters. You need character establishment, and throughout these scenes, you're also developing the 2 characters already mentioned as who they are.
Right.
Their social dynamics, their interests, whatever, how they react, because I need to know that.
Yeah.
And if I don't care about Tyler, and then Tyler goes through a breakup, I still don't care.
Right.
So those are important sometimes. But make sure when you write a scene that says he's outside at a park bench, he went for a walk in a circle, grabbed a book, sat down to read, and then his friend walked by, he said hi, and then he left. That was absolutely pointless. It did nothing. So, some good emotion, some good establishment of characters. Character development is huge in how you write. I'll also say, make sure you have as much done as you can. We have seen 1 through 9 done before we wrote anything.
Yeah.
And we have an end goal. Our end goal is to have a breakup between Tyler and Jen at some point that causes you to kind of like Tyler and Katie or be sad they broke up.
Yeah.
That's your conclusions. That's where we're at right now. Will that change?
Yeah,
probably.
for sure.
But we have an end goal. So if we said, oh, Tyler and Jen are going to get engaged and go to the beach and have this great day, and then we'll have a wedding for them, that is a pointless scene to get me to the end. I can't do that.
Yeah.
So one of two things changes.
Yeah.
Next, write with people. We talked about so much stuff, and if we sat here and did this, we know where. We tried. Wes did, so much that play, and I can't take any credit for writing it, but I'll take credit for sitting here and saying, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, why are we doing that? And a lot of times I just asked, why is this? And clarification questions.
Yeah.
Do you want this and this? No. Okay, well then this isn't right. That's it.
Right.
So essentially I just call myself an editor. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Last comment, look at it like paragraphing in a paper. Your scenes have to flow to a pretty strict degree in this. You can't just throw in scenes that don't make sense.
Think about the scene where Tyler's outside, sitting on the bench, Jenna comes out, they talk, have a conversation, and he leaves. If that scene is alone, what does it matter? Why does it matter that Tyler's there? Why does it matter that what does that conversation mean? Why do we care about any of it? Right?
Huge why.
And it's just because we have these other scenes leading up to it, and we know that Katie and Tyler are everything, and now Jenna and Tyler seem like they're showing everything. That's big to us as the audience. But alone, it means nothing. But with that context before, it means everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, maybe that scene for the whole purpose on the date is like Katie finds out they're dating. That's huge.
Right.
So did the scene mean anything? No. If you put them at home instead of at the bench and she's peeking through the windows or something, means the same thing. Yeah. It's weird, but sure. And then, if you want to have that scene, you can't have the next scene be like, hey, you should ask her out now. Olivia talking to Katie. And she'd be like, oh, yeah, I should definitely do that. That can't come next. That's the main advice. Do's and don'ts. Don't get discouraged. Give yourself some time to do it. It is. How many times did you want to quit?
Every time I wrote it. Every time I sat down.
I said in college, I wanted to quit at least once a semester, probably twice. And that's a lot. Because I was in college for 3.5 years. Yeah. So every year, 6 weeks, or every semester, it's midterms. I'm quitting college. I hate college. It's stupid. Right. I'm going to be a police officer. I don't need college. It's a waste of my time. And whatever. So call my mom. Mom, I'm quitting college. No, you're not. All right. Thanks, Mom. Bye. Yeah. And it's the same thing. Don't quit. Set deadlines. If you're writing a book, that's probably harder. There's no deadlines.
See, I think that was the best thing for us. This show never would have gotten done. When we first did it, I had no show. Nothing. I had an idea for a show. I went to the theater. I said, hey, I have a show. I'm writing a show right now. You should let me do it here. I said, cool. Let's do a read-through in 2 weeks. I said, cool. Yeah, I'm totally ready for that. I had a scene written maybe at most, right? And that, what did that do? That forced me to write the entire freaking show, right?
No, it didn't. It forced you to write half the show that we didn't use, but it got us.
But you know what I mean? So it's that idea of the show would not have been done if I hadn't just said, if I had finished the show and then asked Encore, the show would not have been done. Yeah. And I think that's just me. That's mainly just my personality. Yeah, I think some people are more motivated in that sense. But for me, that's why I want to start doing this and talk to Encore again and say, let's do my show again. I want to do it again. And have them improve it.
Call it something else will bamboozle people. They'll be like, I've seen this show.
No. It's called A Work in Progress 2, so you don't know this one.
It's called Working with Katie on Progress.
Progress working. No. And so again, I want to have a confirmation that I'm going to do it. So then that gives me no other option but to do it and to finish it, right? Because odds are I probably won't finish it. If I don't have something telling me, well, you got to do it.
I think you're one of the most externally motivated people I know.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't have deadlines, You procrastinate a lot.
I do.
You get a lot done.
Well, see.
That's what's surprising, because people who procrastinate as much as you do don't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what surprises me, is you get so much done, and you sign up for the most random stuff, and then get it done. But you procrastinate, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Good
for you.
Because that's what's going to happen is I would say, let me do it. And they're like, cool, you can do it in June. I'm going to start working on it in April.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But, yeah. I think, some good notes and stuff.
That was how you should write a play. And if you write one, send it to us. We'll read it.
I'll read it and steal it from you. So.
I'll criticize you.
All right. Yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Let us know if you have any ideas or if you want to be on the show. Anything to add? All right. Sounds good, guys.
Have a good day.
Peace.